Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson. I'm on BrightShine right here in the city of Memphis in the county of the state of Tennessee. Today is early Sunday morning, January the 12th, 2020, the time 2:11 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your continued support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in the Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education tomorrow college online, pursuing my social research, studying being administrative, concentrated market. It's the present time. I'm taking a break from going to school in the very near future. I will be going back to Marlboro College online to continue to pursue my social research and being administrative, concentrated market. Now, gonna continue to do our Bible study, studying the first century, and of course, studying the first century, of course, and continue to do our study on ancient people mentioned in the Bible. And so, and of course, we're gonna continue to do our study of the history of Chicago and the history of America, the pre-13 colony history, and so on and so forth. So, without further ado, YouTube. Now, this book here is titled West African Traditional Religion. It's written by Dr. Joseph Omasele Ewelelu and Dr. P. Anumo Depemu. And the title of this book is African Traditional Religion and Definition, written by Dr. E. Baloja Adowu. And the title of this book is African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. And the title of this book is titled Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. Now we're going to continue to do our background checks, especially on this East Coast itch. Now this is a world map of all the people on the earth, or all the people on the earth. this is a map of the languages of Africa. This is another map of the languages of Africa. And this is a map of the languages of Africa. Now this is an Afro-Asiatic language distribution map. Now this is another Afro-Asiatic language distribution map. This is a Nilo-Saharan language distribution map. This also is a Nilo-Saharan language distribution map. Now this is a Niger-Congo language distribution map. This is a Niger-Congo language distribution map. Now this is an Albanian language distribution map. And this is a Baltic language map. And this is a Greek language map. And this is a Slavic language map. This is an Altaic language map. And this is a Euro Altaic map. Now this is the Romanian language map. And Romanian language is a Latin Romance language. And as you know, Romania is known as Wallachia in the Romanian language. So as I stated earlier at the beginning, we're going to continue to do our background checks, and especially on that East Coast bitch. Especially on the East Coast bitch. It ain't no end. It's going to be a continuing thing from now, from here on out. We're doing background checks. Ain't nobody going to be moving to talking about they coming to Chicago, Illinois, or anywhere else in the United States of America. And talking about from the East Coast. And then talking about you worship the devil and Satan and all this other stupid stuff you be talking about. And we're gonna get to that in our Bible study. And so like I said, we're doing background checks in. Since you want to hide, since the East Coast bitch you want to try to hide, well, get the bloodhound. And the bloodhound, he'll find you. The bloodhound will find you. You're not that damn smart. And the bloodhound not that damn dumb. You know, a smart person. Like my dad told me when I was a little boy, when I was growing up. My dad always used to say, it's always the best thing to do. It's always best to do the right thing. Just do what's right. It's best. Since you think you're damn smart, since you're so smart trying to hide and going around talking about the devil and Satan and all this occult. Well, it's always best to do what's right. You're going to find out the hard way. You're going to find out the hard way. So, and like I've been saying, to make it perfectly clear, that East Coast bitch and everybody else talking about some blood gang and Crip gang, talking about some bloodstone and limestone. No. Attack. Retaliate on the so-called blood gang, Crip gang. Bloodstone, limestone. In the history of Chicago, no. Ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing, no bloodstone, no limestone. Talking no blood gang, Crip gang. No. The folks are my people. That's it. The folks are my people. I don't want to hear nothing else. Don't want to hear anything. Ain't not going to hear anything else you got to say. Period. Now do we show you YouTube videos and there. We're gonna get to our Bible study, of course. And see, the good thing about these YouTube videos about Chicago, you know what you see, this is how you know that it ain't no such thing. When you see all these videos, just like the focal lines and the My People line, you don't see nothing like that. You don't see no blood gang, you don't see no Crip gang, you don't see no bloodstone, no limes or anything else. See, you be lying. And it's gonna be severe consequences and repercussions. And whoever said that somebody told you that you can walk around in Chicago, Illinois, in the state of Illinois, in the surrounding states, told you a damn lie. They told you a lie. See, that's what the problem is. A lot of people lie. They're like they devil stuff. It didn't start over here. See, when you be talking about the East Coast, this the point that's gonna be made from here on out. See, talking about the devil and Satan, and talking about the East Coast. See, the history, the pre-13 colony history, like I've been talking about over and over and over again. People came from the old world and settled in America. Now let's say this, let's don't leave out the Native American, first American. According to the historians, the Native American, first Americans that live in North America, Mexico, and South America, and including the Caribbean islands, where did they come from? They also came from outside this country. They came from, they crossed over from Russia. What is known today as Russia. That's the truth. They crossed what they call the Bering Straits, into Canada, northern Canada, and walked and migrated all the way down on the west coast of North America, and went all the way down to Mexico, to Central America, to South America, to the Caribbean. Now that's according to the historians. You know, the archaeological evidence that the Native American, first Americans also migrated from the old world to the new world, and they settled and began to spread all over North America, Mexico, Central America, and South America, and the Caribbean. So when it comes to that so-called devil worship and all these stories, see, people came from the old world and brought them stories about the devil and Satan and making up all them stories. They brought them with them. And that's the point that's going to be made from this point out. This what you be saying about the East Coast, claiming like that's some kind of base. You be lying. There's nowhere on this earth that Satan, talking about calling yourself a Satanist and going around talking about the devil and you worship the devil. There's nowhere on this earth that you can claim. Nothing on this earth or in this universe. Because God already said that the devil going to be punished. And the devil going to be punished in hell. And anybody else that's following the devil, you're going to be punished by God with the devil. There's nowhere on this earth for you to claim or in this universe. Nowhere. So that's the point going to be made from this point on. You don't have no claim. You just been lying to see what the problem is that people been walking up and down the East Coast lying. And then you left the East Coast being violent, sneaking up on other people and committing all these crimes. See, this is the truth. So you have to just tell the truth. See, a lot of African Americans were slaves on a plantation, denied education, and so all the white European Americans who settled on the East Coast, came from the old world, colonized North America and Central America and South America and the Caribbean, came over with this with all this nonsense, this devil and Satan, and telling these lies. And then the slaves that were brought over on ships. You know, you had the East African slave trade, and then you had the West African slave trade. And the West African slave trade, the African slaves that came from Sub-Saharan Africa, from Niger, Congo. They first went to Mexico and Central and South America, the Caribbean first. And then the pirate, they were transported by the pirates that sang them occultists, devil worshippers, Satanists. They were transporting slaves from Niger, Congo, from Sub-Saharan Africa. And later on made a detour because they ran out of supplies and came all the way up the coast, the East Coast, and got in contact with the Europeans who were in Virginia and traded the slaves from Angola for supplies. And then from that point on, then you had all these African slaves being brought to the East Coast of America. And after that, the Europeans began to colonize other parts of North America. You know, new states after the 13 colonies. Then you had new states, and so slaves were still being brought over. trip from sub-Saharan Africa. And we had these slave ports in the southern states: Galveston, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana, the state of Mississippi. Now you know Alabama had the last slave ship. The state of Alabama had the last slave ship. Came to the state of Alabama, and Veracruz, Mexico, was a slave port also. Now you know the state of Florida had slave ports on both sides of the state of Florida. And slaves from the African slaves from sub-Saharan Africa were brought to the state of Florida on both sides, slave ports on both sides of the state of Florida. And also the slaves that came over, them African slaves from Niger Congo. Now they knew about them stories. And so the African slave, the Niger Congo, who came over from sub-Saharan Africa, see, they had been taught at first, they had been taught a way of life. And so when they came over, they had their way of life, and they were familiar with these stories, about God. They had the concepts of God all over sub-Saharan Africa, and had this knowledge of this so-called devil and Satan and all this. And so, but over a period of time, the slave master stopped bringing them slaves over and started teaching the children, from the slaves came here to America. But it took some years for them to stop being able to teach the culture and the customs of the Niger Congo. And the only thing you learned was what the slave master taught you. And so that's the reason why a lot of these African Americans on the East Coast have been misled and been deceived. You understand? Because you've been lied to by the slave master. And so you walking around thinking that the East Coast, and you walking around talking about the devil and Satan. Well, you just been made a fool of. You were lied to. You've been deceived. That's the point that's going to be made from now. You ain't no damn about it. Talking about the damn East Coast, you ain't no about it. You ain't got no information that anybody need to hear. You just be lying because you've been lied to. See, the history of Chicago, the focal lines and the my people lines, that's it. That's it. Anything else? No. It ain't nothing else. It ain't nothing, no. Anybody told you, they told you a damn lie. It's either the focal lines or the my people lines, that's it. Nothing else. See, that's the reason why it's so important to get background check. See, ain't no such thing as no person being on the East Coast gonna move to Chicago or to the state of Illinois or the surrounding states. And then when you go to the city of Chicago, you think that you got some information. Then you gonna walk around trying to use the so-called organization as a way to disguise, to conceal your evil, wicked, way of thinking. See, you just been deceived by the devil, by Satan. There's no such thing. You just be lying to yourself. Then you try to go around and lie to other people. You're going to end up getting killed. You're going to get these background checks. Ain't going to expose a whole lot of you people on the East Coast. Now, it ain't no one-day thing. You ain't no baby get all these background checks done no one day. No. But I guarantee you, when you start getting these background checks done and getting this information, you're going to start noticing it's a difference. See, everybody ain't from the East Coast. That was an African slave. Your common sense tell you that you had all these damn plantations in Texas. You had plantations in Mississippi, Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama. You had all these plantations being all over there on the East Coast. You had all these plantations, all these African slaves. How is everybody from the East Coast? See, there's a lot of African Americans. Their families been living in Tennessee the whole time. In Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas. Because their family was on a plantation, off the boat, off the slave ship. And then got, some people got sold as slaves, got sold, sent from one plantation to another and all that kind of stuff, records. Sometimes records get lost. Yeah, well. But when you get to the 19th century, see, when you go into those slave records, a lot of records, they ain't keep good records, But as you get closer to the 1900s, you got World War I. Some African Americans were born in a hospital. That's what a background check do. See? So you ain't gotta be worried about like you fooling somebody. And then you see some people living in Kentucky, some African American living in Kentucky or Missouri. I mean, you go the whole state. Quite true enough, people move and left the South, but a lot of people ain't went nowhere. A lot of families haven't gone nowhere. People been living in Texas for years. People been living in Louisiana for years. In Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. Their families been living there the whole time. They haven't gone nowhere. They haven't moved. Nothing like that. See, so some background check, it ain't gonna take that long. And then you have others, you have to dig and, because the records got lost. But, some people went missing, just like what's her name? Well, for example, Amelia Earhart, for example. I mean, when you come to where she was born and who her mother is and who her father is and so on and so on. Yeah. I mean, that information, even the historians know that. But then she went missing. Then from that point on, you don't find nothing else. Some people like that. Some people, you do a background check. Some people, the information come to a dead end. But the majority of people, you do a background check. Mama, daddy, grandmama, granddad, great-grandmama, great-granddad, so on and so forth. Brother, sister, all that. then you know when I expose a lot of these people from the East Coast, you know your ass gon', you know you're in trouble. Your ass in trouble. Cause see, it ain't no excuse. It ain't no reason for all them damn people from the East Coast to be trying to move around and go around other people. Your ass in trouble. You know you're in trouble. You know your ass in trouble. It ain't no excuse. It ain't no reason. I'm a kid. It ain't no reason. Ain't no excuse. Ain't no reason for no Jesse Jackson being over in Chicago. None whatsoever. There ain't no reason. No. Ain't no reason for this so-called Farrakhan to be sending his ass up in Chicago. None whatsoever. See, you thought you was trying to be a smart ass. That's what that is. Trying to be a smart ass. And, well, gonna be some real consequences, repercussions. We ain't no damn back. They go for the best of it. Like I said, you get these background checks. You gonna see. You sitting your ass around thinking that you done got away. You gonna see. Cause I'm gonna be mad. I don't. Talking about some blood gang and crew gang in Los Angeles, California. I know who it is. They ain't had the nerve talking about some bloodstone, limestone. I know what it is. That East Coast bitch. That East Coast bitch. You ain't getting away. And then, you know, I had to remind you, when you be talking about the devil and Satan, see, and the occult, see, that's the point I've been making. Just like when I made that point about people calling themselves a gangster and a mobster, even a hustler. See, a lot of African Americans were denied education and were taught by the slave master. And when you hear somebody say they're a gangster, they couldn't even pronounce the word gangster and mobster, hustler, and were denied education. We didn't know what you were saying. See, the word gang plus stir, that's not what the word gang means. And see, gang, when you say gang, put it together, but see, that's there's some more words in that when you separate, breaking down the syllables. That GA and that NG, them words, what them two words mean. See, when you get into all that, when you talk about what the word mob means, what do ob mean and mob? See, that's not what the word mob means. And that's not what stir means. I looked up hustler. When I get through the YouTube video, before we get to our Bible stuff, we're gonna look at the word hustle. That's not what hustle means. And then when you say hustler, that's not what hustle means. That's not what it means. What you say, what you claim it means when you say a hustler, but when you say hustle, being lure, that's not what it means. Shooting, standing on the corner shooting dice, or selling drugs for money, or doing all this other stuff you do for money. That's not what hustle means. And so when it comes to the devil, Satan, and the occult, and cult, when you see that word cult in the dictionary, we can that's not what it means. That's not what the word cult means. So I don't know what you're talking about over there on the East Coast, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be some real consequences, repercussions when I get these background checks done. I'm telling you, it's gonna be some real consequences and repercussions. I ain't gonna take it. I'm not gonna take being horseplayed with and being disrespected and people walking around trying to be a smart ass. No. You ain't no damn bad that I gotta take that damn shit off you. And another thing, who walking around in Chicago in the standing up telling other people that you gonna let somebody walk around? I'm telling you, it's gonna be some real consequence repercussions. And you be talking to other people, I don't know who for no reason. That's not what the word gang mean. That ain't what the word mob mean. And that's not what the word cult mean. I don't give a damn what you say. I know how to read. I know how to read. That's not what the word cult mean. And then you put the word up on, talking about the occult. Like I said, look, is it focal lines or my people lines? Anything else, man? No. That's all it is in Chicago, man. In the state of the North and the surrounding states. Now, talking about moving to Chicago and talking about the focal lines or my people lines. Is it? the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, and everywhere else in the United States of America, U.S. here. Look, hey, focal lines, my people lines, nothing else. There ain't no such thing. Now this is a this is a reminder on the background check. It's very important. William Fluky Stokes, background check. Very important. Background, see, it's important. Background check. And you know, another thing, and that sorority and that fraternity. You know, the one be going around talking about their sisters and brothers in Latin. That's another thing. Gonna have to make this clear. In the past, you did a lot of wrong, but from this day forward, really don't even want to accept, approve or allow you either. Because see, that's another way that you try to go around, and then you try to make it sound like you smarter than everybody else, and you do the same thing. You try to horseplay, and you try to be a smart ass. You took the ACT and the SAT when you graduated high school or got your GED, went to college. And then try to go around in the game. Excuse me. But from this day forward, don't think you're smart. Because you're going to get your ass killed just like everybody else. You're going to get your ass killed. That's all there is to it. And talking about coming from the East Coast in a sorority return, you're going to get your ass killed. That's all there is to it. Ain't gonna take nothing from it. Nothing. And talking about that secret society, gonna be the same thing. You do the same thing. Think you smart. Think you smart, trying to be a smart ass. Trying to horseplay with other people. Gonna get your ass killed. Ain't no such thing no East Coast. Ain't no such thing. It ain't nowhere on this earth for no devil worship, no Satanism, no occult, nowhere on this universe. You be lying. Here we go. Background check. Pedro Rodriguez. Background check. Background check. See where he came from? Came from Florida, South Florida, came outside the United States. See? He wasn't just, on the East Coast, but see, outside the United States. Background check. Find out any and everything about Pedro Rodriguez. I said, see, that's the reason why background checks is so important. Get them background checks. No matter how long it takes, it ain't no overnight process. I mean, it's a lot of people that already died. You know what I'm saying? But see, get them background checks. Now we're going to go to our Bible study. Now, let us not forget that there's only one church. There's only one church. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, He established only one church. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19, and Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. It's only one church. And that church is not the church of Christ. It's not the church of Christ. It's the church. Now, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13, and Luke chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. And we're going to go to the book of Matthew chapter 6. And we're going to read the Lord's Prayer, verses 9 through 13. And this is the Lord's Prayer. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And that was the Lord's Prayer. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. Now let's go to our Bible study. Now, as you know, we've been doing our Bible study in the Old Testament on many of the ancient people that's mentioned in the Old Testament. For example, the Amorites, the Egyptians, of course, the Kenites, they were nomadic people. The Canaanites, ancient people. The Kenizzites, they're also an ancient people. The Hittites, as you know, the Hittites are Indo-European. Now the Perizzites, they are ancient people. Then we had the Rephaims or Rephaite, who also are known as Zamzummim and Emil. They were giants in the land of Canaan. Then the Canaanites, of course, descended from Canaan, who was descended from Ham. Now we know the Canaanites, there are people who were, because they were descended from Canaan, and Canaan's descendants, Canaanites, but also all these other people who lived in the land of Canaan were referred to as being a Canaanite. Then you had the Girgasites. Now the Jebusites, Jebus, Jerusalem, the Hittites and the Horites, the Philistines. Now we went over there about the Philistines. We'll come back on the Philistines. According to scientists, you know what I'm saying, how they class people, how people on the earth get classified. The Philistines, they not being classified as being the Afro-Asiatic, and they haven't been definitely no conclusive that the Philistine is an Indo-European. Some people suggest an Indo-European classification for the Philistine, but it hasn't been unanimous. Then you had the Moabites and the Midianites and the Ammonites and so on and so forth. What we're gonna deal with today, we're gonna go to the Old Testament, and we're gonna refer to some of these verses in the Old Testament about this so-called idol worship and making graven images and divination, sorcery, things of this nature. Because it's a serious thing. See, people are doing these things today. That's the reason why you have these people on the East Coast, living on the East Coast, thinking that they have some information that the rest of us who don't live on the East Coast, that we don't have. See, this is the reason why we're saying there's no such thing as you claiming the East Coast. Cause see, the information you claim, the land of Canaan and Egypt and Mesopotamia, Babylon. See, all of these things were done in ancient times. People migrated from the old world to the new world and brought all that brought all that storytelling with them. Now let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 31. Now, we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 31. And we're, let me see, there's a lot. Let's see. Alright, like I said, we're in the book of Genesis. And I'm going to read verse, we're in chapter 31. And we'll start reading at verse 19. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. We're going to start right there. Okay, let me move down. Now, let me read verse 30. Verse 30. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou soarest longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? God, with an S on it, gods. Now in verse 32, with whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live before our brethren. Discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Now verse 34. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's ferns and sat upon them, and Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. In verse 35. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched but found not the images. Okay, now let me read this. Now after Laban went around looking for his gods, listen to what he said. And this verse 48. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee, when we are absent one from another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughter, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. Now he's going around looking for these images, and the Lord has spoke to him about Jacob. And so now he's saying, God, Lord. He ain't saying nothing about praying to these gods in these images, but he said, God, singular. Lord, singular. And Laban said to Jacob, behold this heap and behold this pillow which I carry betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness and this, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillow to the God of Abraham and God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob shared by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mountain and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat bread, till all night in the mountain. So, that's an important point to make. Laban had been taught about this whole idea, this concept about the supreme being. In his mind, the way he was taught that God could be all these images and all this. But when he came in contact with Jacob, and the Lord started talking, started talking to him, his idea, his concept of God, when he talked about it, he didn't have that same concept no more. Now he might have, he still held on. But he had another idea and another concept that came in because of Jacob. You understand? Jacob, the God of Abraham and Isaac, and now the God of Jacob. And so Laban had been enlightened, and his daughters as well, about this whole concept of God. Now I'm going to go over here to the book of Genesis, chapter 35, and verses 1 through 4. And God said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee, when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. So as you see, this whole idea of God is an ancient concept, but there's also this concept or idea about more than one God and about evil and wickedness. You understand? And so this whole point of view, it goes way back, way back in time, way back. Now there's I want to first make a reference to the book of Deuteronomy in the Old Testament. We're going to be in the Old Testament. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. And what we're dealing with is this divination and omens and fortune tellers and sorcerers and people passing their children through the fire and talking about you live on the East Coast and you listening to some stuff like that. Well, we're going to the Holy Bible. We're going to start in the book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 4, Deuteronomy, chapter 4. And so start, like I said, we're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4. And we're going to start reading in verse 16. It said, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. In verse 23. Take heed unto yourselves, lest ye forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make you a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Lord thy God hath forbidden thee. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God. Verse 25. And when thou shalt beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God, to provoke him to anger. See, a lot of things, when you see things mentioned in the Bible, see, people telling you, and this is history, that these things were being done in ancient times. And that God in those ancient times spoke to people and told you it was wrong. And told all of us humans it's wrong to make graven images, to make likeness of fish and fowl in the air, fish in the water, any creeping thing is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Not to even look up to the host of heaven, not to worship the sun, not to worship the moon, not to worship the stars that you see in the sky. God told ancient people it's wrong. See, it just didn't start with the children of Israel. See, this is what God telling the children of Israel, that before I chose you, I had told all of them that I'm God. With the flood, man didn't listen. After the flood, man didn't listen. See, God been telling you not to do these things, and he's still telling you today, don't do those things. It's wrong. It's wrong. the book of Exodus. We're gonna be in the Old Testament the whole time. Well, in our study. Now we turn to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. We're gonna read verse 4 and 5. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the father upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Exodus chapter 22. Now, Exodus chapter 22, verse number 20. He that sacrificeth unto any God, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed. Let me see here. Now pay attention to this. Pay close attention. We in Exodus chapter 23, verse 24. See, this is when God is telling you the difference between right and wrong. For verse 23, we're in Exodus 23. We'll start reading in verse 23. For my angel shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites, the Hittites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. So as you can see, God made a distinction. See, when people were doing those things, don't make it sound like God didn't tell you not to do it, because he did. That's what God was telling you. God was telling you that I've been telling you people all over the earth, don't do these things. Now let me read Exodus chapter 32. I'm gonna start reading verse number 1, that way you'll understand. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fastened it with a graven tool, and he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation, saying, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen these people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I make of thee a great nation. Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth. Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thy own self, and saidest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed. And they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord have repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people, unto his people. Now let me go over here to we're in Exodus chapter 34, and I'm gonna start reading at verse number 11. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. See, God is telling you in the word of God that all that stuff you be talking about, that fortune telling, the occult and cults, talking about some theistic Satanism and atheism. See, that stuff you be making up, you be lying. You be lying. It's a lie. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. You be making up a lie. So when you hear about some people on the East Coast of America living on the, see, these are the lies you be telling. These are the lies you be telling. There's no such thing. See, in ancient times, this is way over in the old world. Let me see here. Now we're in the book of Leviticus. We're in the Old Testament. We're gonna stay in the Old Testament. The book of Leviticus, chapter 17. We're gonna read verse number 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. Now we're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 18. I want you to pay attention to this. Listen to what's being said. We're in the book of Leviticus. We're in the Old Testament, the book of Leviticus, chapter 18. People did these things in ancient times. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. See, this is what the people on this earth had to see. See, in ancient time, it's in the Bible. People did those things. People did those things. Anytime you see something in the Bible, you're talking about passing through the fire to Molech. See, people did those evil things in the past, in ancient time, and even today. If you thought people wouldn't try to do that stuff today, they would. But see, law enforcement. We're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse number 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourself molten gods. I am the Lord your God. People did those things in ancient times. They did those things. We're in the book of Leviticus chapter 20. Listen. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stone. And if I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man, when they giveth of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him, to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. See, God telling you, see, when you read the Bible, people in ancient times did these evil things. And even today, people be trying to do these evil things, whether it be in private or in public. But the important thing is God telling you it's wrong. God telling you it's wrong. Now we're in the book of Leviticus chapter 26, verse number 1. Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. People did these things. Now, verse 30, we're in the same chapter, Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 30. And I will destroy your high place, and cut down your image, and cast your carcass upon the carcasses of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you. See, people did these things in the past, but God tell you it's wrong. It's wrong. Now we're in the book of Numbers, chapter 25. Chapter 25. I'm going to start reading in verse number 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined themselves unto Baal Peor. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people, and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one of his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And so, God telling you this stuff you be talking about, devil worship and Satanism. See, it just nothing started recent. This stuff goes all the way back to ancient times. Now I read Deuteronomy 4. Let me go over here to Deuteronomy chapter 5. What time is it? Okay. Deuteronomy Now we're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5. I'm going to start reading in verse number 6. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. See, God telling you. And see, this is really why it's important for us to bring. See, people try to say things about the Bible, that the Bible been altered. You understand? You know, it's been people have been tampering with the Bible and all this kind of stuff. It's a lot of information in this Bible. It talks about the ancient people. It's a historical record that people did these things in ancient times. I'm in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7. Start reading at verse number 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their grove, and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, from the land of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So as you can see, the Lord God, he's telling you repeatedly that all that divination, sorcery, and wicked, witches and wizards and omens and all this stuff is wrong. See, now we're in chapter 18, Deuteronomy chapter 18. Listen, we're going to start reading in verse number 9. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. Listen, pay attention. There shall none not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord our God doth drive them out. Before thee. Now we're in Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 15. Cursed be the man that maketh any graven or molten image, and abomination unto the Lord, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and putteth it in a secret place, and all the people shall answer and say, Amen. We're in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abomination. Provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. And so as you can see, with the verses that we been going over, all that stuff like divination and wizardry, sorcery, witchcraft, fortune telling, and all that other stuff, it's wrong. It's wrong. Tell you what, I'm gonna do 5 more minutes. It'll be so as you can see, we went to the Holy Bible, to the Old Testament, and we went to those verses in the Bible. That makes it perfectly clear that God, first of all, He did not tell any of us to worship the devil or his demons, or and so like I said, we went to the Bible and gave us the answer that we've been looking for. Now a few more minutes, like I said, it'll be 2 hours and 30 minutes. In just a few minutes, I want to make sure it'd be like 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it's like right at 2 more minutes. It'll be exactly 2 hours and 30 minutes. So just give me a moment. And also, this is going to be part 1 of the same video. And it's going to be dated January the 12th, 2020. Part 1.